Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di and today I am bringing you the Try a Chapter tag. I was tagged about a year ago, maybe longer, from Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. As you know, she is the co-creator and co-host of March Mystery Madness. And I have been a terrible person and haven't done the tag until now. So I am doing it now, and one of the reasons I am doing the tag is because I am having a hard time figuring out which book I want to start with for March Mystery Madness. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to do the tag and try out my books. So yeah, let's just get into it. So of the books I picked out for March Mystery Madness, the only one that I'm not including is Off Kilter, which is the first book in the Scottish Highlands Mystery Series by Hannah Reid. This is the Book One Cozies Club pick for March. And the reason that I am not test driving this one is because I am in the middle of February's Book One Cozies Club pick, which is Murder of a Small Town Honey by Denise Swanson. So I want to finish this one up before I start another cozy mystery. So the first book I tried was Seventh Victim. This is the first book in the Karen Vale mystery series by Alan Jacobson. This is the one that follows an FBI profiler. So I kind of cheated a little bit with this one. I needed a new audiobook this morning. I finished my other one yesterday. And so I listened to this one while I was getting ready for work this morning. And I ended up listening to about 4 chapters worth. This one reminds me a lot of that TV show Criminal Minds. Starts out with the crime and then we're starting to learn about the characters now. So I'm really enjoying that one. The next book I test drove was The Dollmaker, which is the second book in the Forgotten Files mystery series by Mary Burton. This is following a different set of characters than the first book in the series, and this one had a prologue and a chapter 1. So I read through both of those, and I'm really interested in this story. The prologue covers one crime, and in the first chapter there's hints of another crime, an older crime that I believe will be investigated during this story. So I really enjoyed that one as well. The next book I test drove was Naked in Death, which is the first book in the In Death series by J.D. Robb. Like I said, this one's going for the challenge of opposite because it is a reread for me, even though I read it a very long time ago. The first chapter covers the crime and introduces you to the main character, Eve Dallas. And I was telling my mom the other night, I said, I don't remember this story at all. And in truth, I didn't remember anything that I had read in the chapter that I read while I was doing the tag, except for one thing. And the one thing was the shower. I remembered that, well, one, that this book had a futuristic twist on it. And two, the shower she could control by voice command. And I thought that was really neat when I read it the first time, and it's something that stuck with me all the years it's been since I read this story. So that's the only thing I remembered, was that she could control a shower by voice command. But this one was interesting. I think it's going to be a little bit of a grittier murder. We've already been introduced to the crime in the first chapter, or one of the crimes, I'm not sure. A crime, we've been introduced to a crime in the first chapter, and it was more gruesome, I feel, than the one that was in The Dollmaker. Maybe even the one that was in The Seventh Victim. But I'm very interested in getting back into this story, and so yeah, this one's a pretty high contender on my list for being next as well. The next one I test drove was Brooklyn on Fire. This is the second book in the Mary Hadley mystery series by Lawrence H. Levy. As I had mentioned in my TBR video, the first book in this series left a bad taste in my mouth. And it's the reason why I've been avoiding reading this one. but this is actually based on a real historical figure. And so this one had a prologue and a first chapter, I think, as well. Yes. So the prologue, towards the end of the prologue, I had to read it back a couple times because I didn't understand what was going on. And I don't want to give away too much, but the prologue had nothing to do with what happens in the first chapter, so I'm not sure where the story is going with that. I did find myself skimming a lot, which is not a good sign, so I think this one's going to be further down on my list when I do decide to read it. The next book I test drove was Kingdom Keepers, Disney After Dark, which is the first book in the Kingdom Keeper series by Ridley Pearson. This is also for my opposite challenge, and it is also a reread. This one I didn't remember anything at all from what I read, but it was interesting, and of course it's Disney, so I was interested from the get-go. But this one I am actually going to have to read with my eyes, so I don't have access to an audiobook, and since I am already reading The Murder of a Small Town Honey, and I will have to also read Off Kilter with my eyes, this one is probably gonna be the one that I pick up after I finish Off Kilter. But it was a very fun first chapter, and I'm looking forward to getting back into this one too. The last book I test drove was The Ice Princess, which is the first book in the Patrick Hedstrom mystery series, I believe, by Camilla Lockberg. I think this series has another name, and it's a foreign word. This is the one I'm using for my foreign challenge, and I don't know how to pronounce it. So I'm definitely getting an audiobook copy of this one to listen to, because it'll help me with pronunciation, and that way when if I do pick this one up to read with my eyes, I don't stumble over those words. But this one has really long chapters. This one I did not read the first chapter. I kind of flipped through to see how many pages the chapter would be before I started each book. This one, the first chapter, was over 50 pages. So that got me kind of curious to know how many chapters there were in this book. This book only has 6 chapters. So I didn't want to spend 50 pages reading this book, because I think that's more than I want to invest in a test drive situation. That would be more like, okay, I'm definitely reading this book right now. But I did see that at least the first couple chapters have like a 1-paragraph blurb before the chapter actually starts. So, and this one also has a map. But I want to read you what's on this first page because it really grabbed my attention. It says, "The house was desolate and empty. The cold penetrated into every corner. A thin sheet of ice had formed in the bathtub. She had begun to take on a slightly bluish tinge. He thought she looked like a princess lying there, an ice princess. The floor he was sitting on was cold, but the chill didn't bother him. He reached out his hand and touched her. The blood on her wrists had congealed long ago. His love for her had never been stronger. He caressed her arm as if he were caressing the soul that had now left her body. He didn't look back when he left. It was not a goodbye. It was until we meet again." Oh, I really want to read this one. But I think because I had invested so much time in The Seventh Victim this morning, that I'm going to continue with that one first, and then immediately jump into this one right after. This was so intriguing. I wanted to read on, but 50 pages is a lot to just be like, okay, I'm just sampling this book. So I think I have a game plan now for how I want to approach this stack of books during March Mystery Madness, so I will go ahead and share that with you right now. I have a set of audiobooks and then a set of books I need to read visually. So I think the best way to approach it is tell you what audiobooks I will be listening to first in order, and then the books I will be reading visually. So those are books that I am not able to obtain an audiobook copy of. So I am going to stick with The Seventh Victim by Alan Jacobson as my first audiobook for March Mystery Madness. When I'm done with that audiobook, I'm going to move right into The Ice Princess by Camilla Lackberg. And then, when I am done with that one, I'm either going to move into The Dollmaker by Mary Burton or Naked in Death by J.D. Robb. It's going to be one of those two, depending on what I feel like after The Ice Princess. Then, if I still have audiobook time in the month of March, I will be listening to Brooklyn on Fire, the Mary Hanley mystery by Lawrence H. Levy. This one is very low on my priority list right now, unfortunately, so yeah, that's my game plan for the audiobooks. Then for books that I'm going to read visually, I am currently reading Murder of a Small Town Honey by Denise Swanson. When I'm done with this one, I will move straight into Off Kilter by Hannah Reid. And then when I'm done with this one, I will move right into Kingdom Keepers. I think this one's going to be really fun and a really great way to round out March Mystery Madness. So yeah, that's my game plan for March Mystery Madness. This is a tag video. I don't think I mentioned, but the original tag was done by Malia over at Book Paradise. I'm not going to tag anybody because this tag has been out for a very long time. So if you have not done this video, I'm going to go ahead and say give it a try. Or if there's ever a time where you feel like you want to read all the books but don't know like where to start, this is also a good opportunity to do that. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you're all doing great, and until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.